Howdy and welcome back to Slide Bites. Today we're taking a look at the Vox Valvetronix VT20 Plus. So named because it is a 12AX7 in the preamp, and this is the original one. I've never changed it after 12 years of owning this thing, and it is called the 20 Plus because it is technically a 20 watt amplifier, but you can drive that tube to get an extra 10 watts basically. So you can push it from, and it's got rolling attenuator, so you can basically roll it from, the very minimum wattage to hear this thing all the way up to push it to about 30 watts. So yeah, let's dig right in. So why did I have this, and why did I buy this 12 years ago? Well, 12 years ago I was in a band, and I was using this guitar in drop D, which this is the PRS SE Soapbar II, and drop B flat, shown it on the channel before. I really wanted to condense what I had, and I already had experience with tube amps before. I had a custom 5H Defender amp head, and I wanted something that had that thick, full sound, but I also didn't want to have to keep dragging pedals everywhere. And modeling amps were becoming the new hotness among all of us teenagers then. And everyone was going out and buying these cool combo amps with all the built-in effects and everything, and showing them off to each other. And I was like, you know what, let's just go for it. So I got this thing. I think it was like $250, $275 back then. I think they're a bit cheaper now, and Vox has moved on with a newer version of these with something they call NewTube. I don't have enough experience with that to speak to it. But if you do, please feel free to comment on them, because I don't know. Are they great? I hope they're great. I haven't really looked into them too much because I have this. I'd love to hear. Anyway, and I went ahead and went with this and tried it, and I don't think they're too expensive now. And for the price I paid, I'm pretty well pleased with it. I've actually had private recording. I love this thing, and playing with the big group and everything, this was pretty handy to have to just take around. I have the pedals, and it had pretty good sound. In the end, the band didn't stick together. We didn't do anything together. But anyway, this thing is pretty cool. We'll just, right now the gain is about, we'll just put it on about noon and turn the volume back up on this. And we are on the US Blues section. Let's go back to just the basic clean channel. Volume back up. Yeah, volume and master volume on this thing, so. I think it sounds pretty good. You can hear it. Right now the gain is at 10. You can hear it's trying to naturally break up, but it doesn't quite get there. If you've watched the Bigera vintage V5 videos already, you know what a tube amp sounds like, even with the gain, with the gain maxed out on that. We'll just put it that way. With the gain maxed out, you can really hear it, and even when I'm not driving the amp with gain, it still breaks up in a way that's... Yeah, I mean, even with the gain kind of turned down, you can still get it to break up when you dig in a little bit. It isn't really doing that. So that's where you kind of have that transistor-based gain. It still sounds thicker and fuller, more real than a lot of digital stuff does with that tube, but it doesn't quite sound exactly like a full-on tube amp. You get close, and it's kind of like with the same idea of those Joyo amp heads, the Orange Micro Terra and Micro Dark, and all the other hybrids. They're all trying to get that same idea, but with minimizing the amount of tubes that go into it, which is where a lot of your cost and a lot of your design cost and engineering, manufacturing, all that comes into play, and replacements and upkeep and all that. So yeah, I think these are really excellent. You have 33 amp models built in, plus pedal board and master EQ. Let's go ahead and take a look at the top panel here, and we'll just go through it fairly quickly. I don't have enough time to show every single amp model, obviously, because that would take a long time. So here we go. Roll this around. Okay, so you have 33 amps, you have clean channel, Cali clean, US Blues, US 2x12, Vox AC10, Vox AC30, I'm sorry. So Vox AC15, Vox AC30, UK Rock, UK Metal, US High Gain, US Metal, Boutique Metal. Then you have your gain, volume, treble, middle, bass, master, and power level. So when I am on the custom mode, which is this red light here, and on the clean, or any of these, that means that amp is being specifically set by me on its tone EQ using these. Now I can set it to green, which is the standard, which is however they've built it preset at the factory, with whatever effect. And then there's special, which is either a variation of the amp or like a song. It's trying to emulate a specific song. Kind of cool. Your rolling attenuator, again, you can go from the bare minimum watts all the way up to 30 by driving it, and you have an auxiliary in and a headphone jack. You have your user preset program channels, a tuner built in, and you have pedal here, and this has a compressor, an acoustic simulator, an Ottawa, U-Vibe, burn octave, treble boost, tube OD, gold drive, original distortion, metal distortion, and fuzz. You can probably guess what some of those actually represent. Over here in the mod/delay, you have CE chorus, multi-chorus, flanger, or original phase, twin trim, G4 rotary, pitch shift, Filtron, tape echo, delay, chorus, delay. And then you can control. So let's go to the G4 rotary for a second. So you can see how fast that's blinking, and their depth is how much that is present in your tone. Or I can... So yeah, it's really cool how that works. And then you have a separate reverb section, which I like it because sometimes I like to have these on with a reverb, and a lot of amps combine this all into one thing. So you have your room, spring, and hall. Okay, so let's go ahead and sit back down here. There's Woody the wiener dog hiding behind me, as usual. Alright, so this thing has a lot of built-in features. So let's go ahead, let's just flip to another channel real quick. Let's go to the Vox AC30. Turn that volume back down before it blows your drums. Let's go to UK Metal. Not going down, getting back up. Do the US Metal. To the boutique metal. That thing sounds really good. Okay, let's go back to the clean. And when you have those amps set, you can use the little button to, again, select between the different channels. So you do have 33 amps built in there. That's pretty cool. You have all those effects, and you know, and a lot of adjustability with all those. So these types of amps are really handy for someone who's trying to condense their gear to something more manageable for either like gigging or for band practice or for home practice with small apartments, whatever. Modeling amps are great, and these tube hybrids are really cool because they do sound a little bit better, in my opinion, and a little fatter, and you get some cool, really cool natural sounding tube-like tones using, you know, a real tube. I think a lot of the newer stuff comes really close, like the Fender Mustangs and the Marshall Codes, and obviously the real big one right now is the Boss Katana, and I think that is an excellent amp. I have played those. Excellent amplifiers, they really truly are. I don't have a need for another amp, or else I probably would own one of those if I had to choose something else to go right out and buy, and just have one thing. That would be a really big contender on my list. Anyway, and Fender has moved on with the newer version of the Mustang. We'll talk about the one I own separately in another video, and well, I'd like to compare all these. I'm not sure if that video will come out before or after this one, so keep an eye on the channel for that. But yeah, guys, these are great amps. They're still not very expensive to this day. It was a sub $300 when I got it, and I think you can still get these used for that. But should you just go into the new tube? I honestly don't know. You have to find someone who has more experience with the newer Vox line of these modeling amps to know that for sure. My problem with modeling amps, and this is something that came really noticeable with the Fender one, is that they're a little bit clunky to try to get around if you needed to switch tones, sounds, pedals, whatever mid-song. It's not very convenient to try to reach over here and turn knobs. Yeah, you can get foot switches for them, but then that's another upcharge, and at that point you've already got another pedal anyway, in my opinion. It just seems like they're just clunkier to get around with, and I feel like, as far as in use, and I feel like pedals, even though they're bulkier and there's more stuff to carry around, they're more convenient and a lot easier to switch things back and forth between channels, between tones for a song, for individual songs. You can have things set and forget it and just turn on the pedal and then turn off when you don't need it. And I just find that a little bit more flexible for especially for what I like to do. But I do highly recommend something like this. If you find a good deal on it, you might want to pick one up, maybe, if it's a pretty good deal. Again, that 12AX7 has lasted for 12 years now. This thing's in pretty good shape. There's some wear and tear. You can tell the top panel's getting a bit faded. It was up in the near window for a while, and it kind of got a little faded out. And some of the toe lights down here is getting like that too. But honestly, in general, it's in really good shape. No real tears or anything in the toe lights, and yeah, she's 12 years old and hasn't been used and abused too much. It's in good shape, and it sounds really darn good, and it's very flexible. So guys, if you're looking for a good modeling amp for a budget, you might look at some of these if you can find them on, you know, something like Reverb or your local guitar shop or used or something. They're pretty cool. Or even if you can find them new at a decent price, you might still pick one up, because I like the sound. And there's still a lot of other amps coming out with that 12AX7, the preamp, and solid state. After that, so you might look into these. I definitely like what I get out of it. I've used this a lot for my own little recording for just songs, when it's just easier just to pick up something and carry it into another room, and I want that thicker, fuller tube sound. And I still use the Fender Mustang for that kind of thing too. So guys, this has been the Vox VT20 Plus Valvetronix. Do recommend it. I don't think these modeling amps will ever replace pedals, but I don't think they really need to. They don't replace tube amps. And yeah, but they do sound good, and I think they get close, and probably close enough that most people, unless you really do this a lot, wouldn't probably know the difference. That might be subjective, maybe you, and I'd like to hear what other people think on that too, because it's hard to know these days. There's a lot of bands just not even using real amps, so I'm really torn on what I think about all that going on. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna end this video here. So thanks for watching. Keep shredding. Keep an eye on my Instagram for more playing videos, and there's always more content around the corner. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching and for supporting the channel so much. Like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing. See you soon. Bye.